Most people think money is about numbers, how much you earn, how much you save, how much you spend, but money has very little to do with math. Money is a story we tell ourselves about safety, success, freedom, and fear. Two people can earn the same income, live in the same city, and face the same opportunities, yet feel completely different about their lives. One feels calm and secure, the other feels anxious and trapped. The difference isn't intelligence, it isn't effort, it isn't luck, it's psychology. Money quietly shapes our decisions long before we notice it. It influences where we live, who we marry, what risks we take, and what risks we avoid. It affects how we define success and how we measure happiness. And most of the time, we don't even realize it's happening. We learn about money not from textbooks, but from experiences, from our parents. From our first job, from our biggest mistake, from moments of fear, envy, pride, and regret. That's why money feels emotional, personal, sometimes confusing. This audiobook is not about getting rich quickly. It's not about tricks, shortcuts, or secrets. It's about understanding yourself. It's about seeing how patience beats brilliance, how behavior matters more than talent, and how true wealth often looks boring from the outside. Most importantly, it's about realizing that money is a tool, not for impressing others, but for building a life that feels calm, free, and meaningful. Think of this audiobook as a quiet conversation with a wise friend. Someone who has made mistakes, someone who has chased the wrong things, someone who has learned, slowly, that happiness and money are deeply connected, but not in the way most people think. Let's begin. Chapter 0. One happiness is not a number. There was a man who spent 30 years chasing a number. At first, the number was small, then it grew, and every time he got close to it, the number moved further away. He told himself, once I reach this number, I'll finally feel relaxed. But when he reached it, nothing changed. His stress stayed, his worries stayed, his fears stayed. So he chose a new number. This is how many people live their entire lives. They believe happiness is waiting on the other side of a financial milestone, a salary, a savings goal, a lifestyle upgrade, and when they finally reach it, they feel disappointed, not because they failed, but because success didn't feel the way they imagined. That's the first quiet truth about money. Happiness is not a number. Money can solve problems. It can remove stress. It can buy time and comfort, but it cannot tell you when you have enough. Only your mind can do that. Why enough is so hard to see. Imagine standing on a mountain. When you're climbing, all you see is what's above you, higher peaks, better views, bigger goals. You rarely look down to see how far you've already come. Money works the same way. When you earn more, your expectations grow with you. Your lifestyle adjusts. Your comparison group changes. What once felt like luxury starts feeling normal. What once felt impressive now feels average. This is not greed. It's human nature. Our brains are designed to adapt quickly. That adaptation helps us survive, but it also makes satisfaction fragile. The danger isn't wanting more. The danger is never deciding what enough looks like. Because without enough, no amount will ever feel sufficient. A simple story about two lives. Consider two people. The first earns a modest income, nothing impressive, but they live below their means. They avoid unnecessary debt. They value calm evenings more than flashy purchases. They don't worry much about what others think. The second earns far more. On paper, they're successful, but their expenses grow faster than their income. Their lifestyle depends on constant progress. A slowdown would feel like failure. Every month carries pressure. Who is wealthier? Most people would choose the second person. But wealth is not what you earn, it's what you keep, and more importantly, how you feel. The first person sleeps better, and sleep is a kind of wealth no bank account can guarantee. Money as a tool for control at its best, Money gives you control over your time, not luxury, not status, not admiration. Control, the ability to say no to things you don't want to do, the ability to walk away from toxic situations, the ability to choose rest when your body needs it. True financial happiness comes from flexibility. It's the freedom to slow down when life demands patience. It's the freedom to take risks that matter, not risks that impress. Ironically, the people who use money to chase happiness often lose control. They become trapped by expectations, appearances, and obligations they never intended to carry. The people who quietly build control rarely look successful in dramatic ways. Their lives appear simple, almost boring, but boring is underrated. Boring is stable. Boring is calm. Boring lasts. Why comparison is the thief of financial joy. One of the most dangerous habits with money is comparison. Not because it makes you want more, but because it makes you forget why you wanted anything in the first place. When you compare, you stop measuring your life by your own values. You start measuring it by someone else's highlight reel. You don't see their stress. You don't see their debt. You don't see their fear of losing everything. You only see the surface, and surface-level information creates deep dissatisfaction. Happiness with money requires privacy, not secrecy, but emotional independence. The ability to define success quietly without asking the world for approval. The invisible cost of chasing more. Every financial decision has a visible cost and an invisible cost. The visible cost is money. The invisible cost is time, attention, stress, and peace of mind. Many people focus only on what they gain financially, not on what they lose emotionally. Extra income might come with longer hours. Higher status might come with less freedom. Bigger homes might come with bigger worries. None of these are wrong choices, but they are trade-offs, and happiness depends on whether the trade-off aligns with what you truly value. Most regret doesn't come from bad decisions. It comes from unexamined ones. Patience as a source of happiness. One of the least discussed sources of happiness is patience, not waiting without action, but moving slowly enough to stay in control. Impatient money decisions are emotional decisions. They're driven by fear, excitement, envy, or urgency, and emotional decisions often feel right in the moment and painful later. Patient decisions feel boring in the moment and wise in hindsight. Patience allows time to do the heavy lifting. Patience reduces the need for constant correction. Patience protects you from yourself, and protecting yourself from panic, from ego, from impulse is one of the most valuable uses of money. Why rich and happy are not the same thing. There are people with more money than they'll ever need, yet they live with constant anxiety, and there are people with far less who wake up feeling content. This doesn't mean money doesn't matter. It means money magnifies who you already are. If you are calm, money gives you comfort. If you are anxious, money gives you more things to worry about. Money doesn't create happiness or unhappiness. It reveals it. That's why inner work matters as much as financial work. A quiet definition of success. Success is often loud, big announcements, big purchases, big reactions, but happiness prefers silence. A quiet morning, a manageable schedule, a sense that tomorrow is not a threat. The most successful people, in the deepest sense, are not those who maximize income, but those who minimize regret. They know what matters to them. They know what doesn't, and they arrange their money accordingly. The thought that changes everything here is a simple thought that can change your relationship with money. Money should support the life you want, not force you to live a life you don't enjoy. When you internalize this, decisions become clearer. You stop chasing numbers and start designing days, and happiness stops being something you postpone. It becomes something you practice. pause and reflect as this chapter ends. Take a quiet moment to ask yourself, what does enough mean to me? Without comparison, which financial pressures in my life are self-chosen? If money gave me more control, how would I actually use it? You don't need answers today, but asking better questions is how wisdom begins. In the next chapter, we'll explore why people make decisions that hurt their financial happiness, even when they know better. Because understanding behavior is the first step toward lasting peace. Chapter 02. Why we make money decisions we later regret. Most bad money decisions don't come from a lack of intelligence. They come from being human. If money were purely logical, personal finance would be easy. Everyone would save more, spend less, avoid obvious mistakes, and live calmly. But reality looks very different. People overspend even when they know they shouldn't. They panic at the worst possible time. They chase things they don't need with money they don't have to impress people they don't even like. And afterward they ask the same question, why did I do that? The answer is simple but uncomfortable. We don't make money decisions with calculators. We make them with emotions, memories, fear, and hope. Your money story was written before you knew it. Every person has a money story. Not a written one, but a lived one. Your story began long before you earned your first paycheck. It started when you watched how money was handled around you. It formed when you noticed what caused stress in your home, what brought arguments, what created security, and what created fear. Some people grew up seeing money as fragile, something that disappears quickly and must be protected at all costs. Others saw money as abundant, something that comes and goes and is meant to be enjoyed. Neither story is right or wrong, but both shape behavior in powerful ways. Two people can face the same situation and make opposite choices, not because one is smarter, but because their experiences taught them different lessons. Understanding this doesn't excuse bad decisions, but it explains them, and explanation is the first step toward change. Fear is louder than logic. Fear is one of the strongest forces in money decisions. Fear of losing, fear of missing out, fear of being left behind. Fear speaks quickly and confidently. Logic speaks slowly and quietly. When fear takes control, we stop asking, is this right for me? We start asking, what if I don't act now? That urgency is dangerous. Many of the biggest financial regrets come from moments when fear rushed a decision that should have been given time. Fear makes short-term pain feel unbearable. Even if long-term pain will be much worse. Calm decisions rarely feel urgent. Urgent decisions are rarely calm. Why we copy others even when it hurts us. Humans are social creatures. We look to others for signals on what's safe and what's risky. This instinct helped our ancestors survive, but with money it can quietly destroy peace. When everyone around you is upgrading their lifestyle, spending more, or chasing something shiny, standing still feels uncomfortable. Doing nothing feels like falling behind, so we copy, not because it makes sense, but because it feels safe to move with the crowd. The problem is this: the crowd doesn't know your life. They don't know your stress tolerance. They don't know your responsibilities. They don't know what keeps you awake at night. Yet comparison convinces us to follow paths that don't fit us, and later we wonder why we feel trapped. The seduction of short-term comfort. Many money mistakes feel good at first. That's what makes them dangerous. Overspending feels rewarding. Avoiding saving feels freeing. Delaying hard decisions feels relaxing. Short-term comfort whispers, you deserve this. And sometimes that's true. But when comfort becomes a habit, it quietly steals future freedom. The painful irony is that the choices that feel uncomfortable now, saving, waiting, saying no, often create the most peace later. and the choices that feel easiest now often come with hidden costs. Happiness with money requires the courage to tolerate small discomforts today to avoid large regrets tomorrow. Ego is an expensive habit. Ego has a cost. It convinces us to prove ourselves instead of protect ourselves. It pushes us to look successful rather than feel secure. Ego-driven money decisions often sound like this. People will respect me more if I have this. I can't look like I'm falling behind. I deserve to show what I've achieved. But ego doesn't care about long-term peace. It cares about short-term validation, and validation is fleeting. Many people confuse wealth with appearance. They spend years maintaining an image while quietly sacrificing freedom. True confidence doesn't need to announce itself, and true wealth doesn't need an audience. Risk feels different when it's personal. We often talk about risk as if it's objective, but risk is emotional. A decision that feels exciting to one person can feel terrifying to another. A loss that feels manageable to someone else can feel devastating to you. This is why copying others is so dangerous. They are not living your life. Your financial decisions should match your ability to sleep at night, not someone else's appetite for risk. The goal isn't to avoid all risk. The goal is to avoid risks that destroy your peace. Why we learn only after pain. Most financial wisdom comes late. Not because people are careless, but because lessons stick when they hurt. We don't truly understand risk until we experience loss. We don't respect patience until impatience costs us. We don't value simplicity until complexity overwhelms us. This isn't failure. It's how humans learn. The mistake is believing that regret means you're bad with money. Often, it means you're becoming wiser. The real danger is repeating the same mistake without reflection. Slowing down is a superpower. One of the most underrated skills in money is the ability to pause. To wait, to think, to let emotions settle. Most bad decisions happen fast. Most good decisions survive time. Slowing down doesn't mean missing opportunities. It means filtering out distractions. A decision that still feels right after time has passed is usually a better one. Patience isn't passive, it's protective. A healthier way to decide before any major money decision, ask yourself, am I acting out of fear or clarity? Would I make this choice if no one knew about it? Is this solving a real problem or an emotional one? Will this give me more control or less? These questions don't guarantee perfection, but they dramatically reduce regret. The quiet truth about wisdom with money isn't about never making mistakes. It's about making fewer emotional decisions and recovering faster when you do. It's about knowing your weaknesses and designing your life to protect you from them. And most of all, it's about kindness toward yourself. Because money mistakes don't define you, they teach you. Pause and reflect before moving on. Take a moment and think. Which emotion most often drives my money decisions? Am I trying to impress, protect, or escape? What decision in my past taught me the most? Don't judge the answers, just notice them. Awareness is where change begins. In the next chapter, we'll talk about patience, time, and why slow progress quietly defeats fast success, both in money and in life. Because the longest lasting happiness is built slowly, almost invisibly. Chapter 0. Time is the real source of wealth. If you look closely at most success stories, you'll notice something strange. Time is always there, but it's rarely mentioned. We celebrate the result. We admire the outcome. But we ignore the years of quiet waiting that made it possible, because patience isn't exciting. It doesn't make headlines. It doesn't impress people at dinner tables. But patience is the force behind almost everything that lasts. Why we underestimate time. Human beings are bad at thinking long term, not because we are foolish, but because our brains are wired for survival, not patience. Our ancestors needed to focus on today, on immediate danger, on quick rewards. Waiting too long could be fatal. That instinct still lives inside us. It pushes us to want results now, to measure progress quickly, to abandon things that don't show immediate reward. But modern life rewards a very different skill, the ability to wait. Fast progress feels powerful until it breaks. Fast success feels intoxicating. When things move quickly, it feels like proof that we're doing something right, that we're smart, that we've figured it out. But fast progress has a weakness. It leaves no room for mistakes. When success comes slowly, you grow alongside it. You adapt, you learn, you develop emotional strength. When success comes too fast, your skills and mindset often lag behind your circumstances, and when pressure arrives, as it always does, everything feels fragile. This is true not only with money, but with careers, relationships, and life itself. What grows slowly develops roots. What grows fast often depends on perfect conditions to survive. The quiet advantage of going slow progress has a secret advantage. It doesn't attract attention. And attention is expensive. When nobody is watching, you can make mistakes quietly. You can change direction without embarrassment. You can experiment without pressure. Slow progress gives you privacy, and privacy gives you peace. Most people underestimate how valuable this is. They rush forward not because speed is better, but because they don't want to feel left behind. But being early, late, or average matters far less than being consistent. Why patience feels uncomfortable? Patience is uncomfortable because it feels like inactivity. When you're patient, it can look like you're doing nothing, that you're not ambitious, that you lack drive. But patience is not laziness. Patience is choosing durability over drama. It's trusting that steady effort, repeated over time, creates results that panic never can. The hardest part of patience is that it doesn't give emotional rewards right away. No applause, no excitement, no reassurance, just quiet faith. Time magnifies behavior. Time doesn't just grow money. It magnifies behavior. Good habits look small in the short term and powerful in the long term. Bad habits look harmless in the short term and destructive in the long term. This is why people are often shocked by outcomes. They don't realize that small choices, repeated daily, quietly compound into major consequences. Happiness works the same way. Small sources of stress ignored for years can become overwhelming. Small moments of peace protected daily can become a calm life. Time doesn't change who you are. It reveals it. Freedom is built slowly. Many people say they want freedom, but what they often mean is escape. Escape from pressure, escape from responsibility, escape from discomfort. True freedom is different. Freedom is built, not found. It's built by reducing dependence, by lowering unnecessary needs, by creating margins in life. And margins take time. They are the result of consistent restraint, not sudden breakthroughs. The people who enjoy the most freedom are rarely the most dramatic. They are the most patient. Why boring decisions win the best long-term decisions are often boring. They don't give stories to tell. They don't create excitement. They don't feel clever. But boring decisions age well. They hold up under stress. They survive bad days. They don't require constant attention. In contrast, exciting decisions demand energy. They require perfect timing, emotional strength, and ongoing effort. Most people don't fail because they choose the wrong exciting option. They fail because they choose too many of them. The hidden cost of rushing: when you rush, you trade control for speed. You lose flexibility. You lose options. You lose peace. Rushing creates a fragile life, one that works only when everything goes right. Patience creates resilience, a life that can absorb mistakes without collapsing. The goal isn't to move slowly forever. The goal is to move steadily enough that you don't have to constantly recover. Long-term thinking is a form of kindness. Patience is an act of kindness toward your future self. It's saying, I don't need everything now. I don't need to prove anything today. I trust that consistency will take me where I need to go. This mindset removes urgency from decisions, and without urgency, clarity appears. What the calm people know, people who seem calm about money often share one trait. They've accepted that life unfolds over decades, not months. They don't panic at slow progress. They don't overreact to setbacks. They don't chase every opportunity. They understand that staying in the game matters more than winning quickly. Because the longest game rewards the most patient players. A thought worth remembering here is a thought worth carrying with you. You don't need to move fast. You need to move in a way you can sustain. Sustainability beats intensity every time. Chapter 0 for Wealth, Freedom, and the Power of Enough. Most people think wealth is something you can see. A big house, a luxury car, an expensive lifestyle. But the most powerful form of wealth is invisible. It doesn't show up on social media. It doesn't announce itself, and it doesn't ask for approval. True wealth is freedom, the freedom to choose, the freedom to slow down, the freedom to say no, and at the center of that freedom is one quiet word: enough. Why enough feels uncomfortable? The idea of enough makes people uneasy. It sounds like settling. It sounds like giving up ambition. It sounds like stopping, but enough is not about stopping growth. It's about stopping unnecessary growth. Growth without purpose becomes pressure. Progress without direction becomes exhaustion. When you don't define enough, the world defines it for you, and the world's expectations are endless. There will always be someone earning more, living bigger, moving faster, without enough. Comparison never ends. The difference between rich and wealthy: being rich is about income. Being wealthy is about control. A rich person can still feel trapped by expenses, expectations, and obligations. A wealthy person may earn less, but they own their time. They make decisions based on values, not fear. Wealth is what remains after you subtract what you don't need. That subtraction is where freedom lives. The most valuable asset is time. Time is the one thing money is supposed to protect. Yet many people trade their time away chasing money that gives them even less control. Long hours, constant stress, no margin for rest. They tell themselves this is temporary. But temporary habits have a way of becoming permanent lives. Wealth is not about working forever. It's about creating options. Options to rest, options to change direction, options to be present. Why simplicity is a strength. Simple lives are often misunderstood. They look small from the outside, but they feel expansive on the inside. Simplicity reduces the number of things that can go wrong. It lowers stress. It increases clarity. Every extra commitment, expense, and expectation adds weight. Freedom comes not from adding more, but from removing what doesn't matter. Status is expensive. Peace is cheap. Status requires maintenance. You must keep up appearances, meet expectations, protect an image. Peace asks very little: a stable routine, honest priorities, reasonable needs. The tragedy is that many people sacrifice peace chasing status, only to realize later that peace was always the real reward. The quiet confidence of enough people who know they're enough move differently. They don't rush. They don't compete loudly. They don't panic at setbacks. They make decisions slowly and calmly. Enough gives you a shield. It protects you from envy. It protects you from pressure. It protects you from decisions that look good but feel wrong. Freedom is saying no. One of the clearest signs of wealth is the ability to say no. No to work that drains you. No to spending that creates anxiety. No to paths that don't align with your values. Every yes costs something. Wealth is having enough margin to choose your yes carefully. Why chasing more often costs more. More income often comes with more responsibility, more stress, more expectations. If those costs are intentional, they can be worth it. But when they happen unconsciously, they quietly reduce happiness. The question is not, can I earn more? The question is, what will it cost me? And is that cost aligned with the life you want? Designing a life, not an image. Many people design their lives to look successful. Few design their lives to feel good. A well-designed life prioritizes sleep, relationships, health, calm, meaning. Money is simply the tool that supports that design. When money becomes the goal instead of the support, everything feels backward. The wealth that doesn't disappear. Markets change, jobs change, circumstances change, but habits last, mindsets last, values last. The most durable wealth is emotional. Contentment, patience, perspective, these don't disappear in difficult times. They become more valuable. A thought to carry forward here is a thought worth remembering. You don't need to win every game. You just need to stay free. Freedom is not loud. It doesn't demand attention. But once you experience it, you realize it was the goal all along. Pause and reflect. Take a moment and ask yourself, what does enough look like for me? Which expenses, habits, or goals reduce my freedom? If I valued time more than money, what would change? There is no rush. Clarity arrives when pressure leaves. Chapter 05. Risk, uncertainty, and the art of avoiding ruin. Life is uncertain. No matter how carefully you plan, no matter how intelligent you are, no matter how much experience you gain, uncertainty never leaves, and money sits right in the middle of that uncertainty. Most people think the goal of money is to win, to maximize returns, to make the best possible decision. But the deeper goal is simpler and more important. Don't lose the game, because once you lose the game, there is no next move. Why avoiding ruin matters more than chasing success. Ruin is different from failure. Failure is painful but temporary. Ruin is permanent, or close to it. Failure teaches lessons. Ruin removes options. And money, unlike many other parts of life, has areas where mistakes can be unforgiving. You can recover from embarrassment. You can recover from wrong choices. But some financial mistakes take away the ability to recover at all. This is why the smartest people are often more focused on survival than optimization. Staying in the game is more powerful than winning quickly. Risk looks smaller from a distance. Risk often looks reasonable before it arrives. It appears manageable, logical, worth it. But risk feels different when it becomes personal. When consequences arrive, they don't come as percentages or probabilities. They arrive as stress, regret, fear, and sleepless nights. The mistake many people make is evaluating risk only when things go right. They imagine success clearly, but imagine failure vaguely. Wisdom comes from doing the opposite. The illusion of control, one of the most comforting and dangerous beliefs, is the idea that we are in control. We plan carefully, we analyze options, we prepare for what we can see. But much of life unfolds outside our plans. Economic shifts, health issues, unexpected responsibilities, timing that works against us. This doesn't mean planning is useless. It means planning should include humility. The calmest people don't believe they can predict everything. They build lives that can bend without breaking. Safety is not cower, as some people confuse caution with weakness. They admire boldness. They celebrate big risks. They respect dramatic success stories. But survivorship hides the full picture. For every bold success, There are many quiet failures we never hear about. Caution is not fear. Caution is respect for uncertainty. It's acknowledging that not all risks are worth taking, and that avoiding disaster is often more important than chasing glory. Margin of safety, the space that saves you. One of the most powerful concepts in life is margin. Margin in time, margin in energy, margin in money. Margin is the space between what you have and what you need. Without margin, every small problem becomes a crisis. With margin, problems become manageable. Margin buys calm, and calm leads to better decisions. Why people take risks they can't afford. Most dangerous risks are not taken because people want danger. They are taken because people feel pressure. Pressure to catch up, pressure to prove something, pressure to escape discomfort. When pressure builds, long-term thinking disappears. People don't ask, what happens if this goes wrong? They ask, what happens if I don't try? This is how ruin enters quietly, not through recklessness, but through desperation. Uncertainty is the price of freedom. A predictable life is safe, but limited. An uncertain life is risky, but flexible. There is no escape from uncertainty. The goal is not to eliminate it, but to manage it. People who build happiness around certainty struggle when life changes. People who build happiness around adaptability survive better. Money helps most when it gives you room to adapt. The difference between bold and fragile. Bold decisions are not the same as fragile decisions. A bold decision still leaves room for error. A fragile decision works only if everything goes right. Fragility looks strong until pressure arrives. Resilience looks boring until it saves you. The strongest lives are built to handle disappointment. Why calm beats confidence. Confidence can disappear quickly. Calm lasts longer. Calm doesn't require predicting the future. It requires accepting that the future is unknown. People who are calm about money don't expect perfection. They expect surprises and prepare accordingly. Planning for what you can't predict. You can't predict specific events, but you can predict that surprises will happen. This shifts the question from what will happen next to how will I respond when something unexpected happens. Flexibility matters more than precision. Options matter more than predictions. The emotional cost of fragility. Fragile money decisions don't just risk finances, they risk peace. Living on the edge creates constant tension. Every small setback feels catastrophic. Every uncertainty feels threatening. That emotional cost compounds quietly. Avoiding ruin is not just about protecting money. It's about protecting mental health. A simple rule for risk here is a simple, powerful rule. Never risk something you need for something you want. Needs are stability, dignity, peace, and freedom. Wants are upgrades, excitement, and approval. When you confuse the two, consequences follow. The wisdom of playing defense. Life rewards offense, but only if defense is strong. Defense keeps you alive long enough for opportunities to matter. Defense is boring. Defense is quiet. Defense rarely gets praise, but defense keeps the game going. The long view of safety. Avoiding ruin doesn't mean avoiding growth. It means growing in ways that don't destroy you if things go wrong. Slow growth with survival beats fast growth with fragility. Every time, pause and reflect before moving forward. Take a quiet moment and ask, what risks in my life would truly hurt me if they failed? Where am I confusing bravery with pressure? How much margin do I actually have? You don't need to remove all risk, just the ones that steal your future. Final chapter. A calm life, well lived. We've spent hours together, exploring money, happiness, behavior, patience, risk, and freedom. By now, one quiet truth should be clear. Money is never just about money. It's about life. It's about how you feel, how you think, and how you make choices that shape your days, years, and decades. The paradox of life and money: many people spend their lives chasing wealth, believing that it will bring happiness, and sometimes it does, but more often it magnifies what already exists: your fear, your impatience, your lack of clarity. Money is a mirror. It doesn't create happiness, it reveals it. If your life is chaotic, more money will amplify the chaos. If your life is calm, more money will deepen the peace. This is why understanding yourself is more important than understanding finance. The quiet power of small decisions. No single decision defines your life. It's the accumulation of thousands of quiet choices, choosing patience over impulse, choosing freedom over status, choosing simplicity over complexity. Each choice compounds. Each choice builds or erodes your future. Time magnifies behavior, both good and bad. The most successful lives aren't dramatic. They are consistent. The most peaceful lives aren't flashy. They are intentional. Freedom is the true measure of wealth. Wealth is not about money, possessions, or status. Wealth is freedom, the freedom to wake up without fear, the freedom to work or not work, the freedom to say yes or no based on your values, not someone else's expectations. And freedom is built quietly, slowly, without announcements. It is created by knowing what is enough and living below your limits. It is created by patience, by resilience, by wise management of risk. It is created by keeping your life flexible, your choices intentional, and your emotions calm. Happiness is a skill, not a reward. People often think happiness is something you reach after achieving a goal. But happiness is something you practice daily. It's in the quiet mornings before the world intrudes. It's in the gratitude for what you already have. It's in the courage to make decisions aligned with your values. Money can help create the environment for happiness, but it can never be the source of it. Happiness is the skill of living a life you can admire quietly, without applause. The strength of patience. Time is your ally. Fast decisions may feel exciting, fast success may feel powerful, but it is patience, repeated consistently, that produces stability, resilience, and peace. Slow progress teaches you how to endure, how to adapt, how to make fewer mistakes and recover from those you do make. Patience is quiet, invisible, and sometimes boring, but its rewards are lifelong. Embracing uncertainty. Life is unpredictable. Money is unpredictable. Happiness is unpredictable. The smartest people don't try to eliminate uncertainty. They prepare for it. They build margin, they avoid ruin, they plan for mistakes, they create options. This is the foundation of freedom and calm, because when life surprises you, as it always does, you survive, you recover, you continue, and that, more than anything, is the true measure of wealth. Enough is the secret. The word enough is simple but transformative. Enough prevents envy. Enough prevents desperation. Enough prevents chaos. It does not mean settling, it means clarity, it means knowing your priorities, it means protecting your freedom. When you understand enough, every decision becomes easier, every risk becomes manageable, every day becomes quieter. The life that lasts is rarely dramatic. It is made of small, consistent acts. It is built on patience, wisdom, and self-awareness. It is designed for calm, not applause. It is built with freedom as its foundation and enough as its measure. The loud, fast, showy life is tempting, but it is fragile. The quiet, deliberate life is strong. And that life, my friend, is the one that endures. A thought to carry with you before we end. Carry this thought quietly. Money is not the destination. It is the tool. The goal is not wealth. It is a calm life. The goal is not freedom from money. It is freedom within it. Design your life accordingly. Protect your time. Choose patience. Define your enough. And let the small, wise decisions compound over decades. because the richest life is often the quietest one, and the happiest life is often the simplest. Final reflection. Take a moment to reflect. What does a calm life look like for you? Where can patience, margin, or simplicity improve your life today? How can you protect your freedom and create enough for yourself and your loved ones? No action is required right now. Just carry these questions with you. Let them guide your decisions. Let them quiet your mind. Let them build your future, because life is long, and if you play it wisely, it can be calm, meaningful, and deeply fulfilling.